Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
John Messino was asked, where does avoiding relegation leave us with Andre Dozzell? He replied,
where does staying up leave Andre? I think it leaves him as a Portsmouth player for next season. Andre has been great, he has surpassed expectations. He has been incredibly effective in any position we've played him, whether as a 6, an 8, or, a couple of times, as a 10. He has also scored goals recently. He's had a very, very positive influence on us in terms of what we've tried to do, and played more than 30 games. Andre's performances have also improved week on week, which is the most pleasing thing. We recently made a couple of the changes off the back of losing 4 out of 5 games, so brought Isaac Hayden in, just to freshen things up. That's nothing to do with Andre in particular, but Isaac has had a really good record. Andre still played his part off the bench against Derby and Norwich. We were also going to bring him on against Watford, but then we had the Josh Murphy injury. However, he's been exceptional this year. Dozzell had been training with Sheffield United in the summer, following his release from QPR. However, he walked away from the opportunity of a Bramall Lane deal in favour of signing for Pompey on a 12-month contract. Initially in the Blues' starting 11 for their championship return, Dozzell was subsequently dropped to the bench for the majority of October, with Marlon Pack and Freddie Potts preferred. However, he returned to the side to strike up a strong central midfield partnership with Potts, while scored in February's crucial 2-0 victory at Oxford United. Messino added, Andre started the opening 5 league games, then lost his place in the side after West Brom. Since he's come back in, he's had some very, very good performances at this level against excellent players, and his improvement has been massive. I definitely think he can be a key player again next season. We are excited again about having Andre next season.
Yes, where are the doubters now? Where are the folk who took to social media to say, and I remember it very clearly when Dozzell arrived, this guy is a reject from a club that is practically bottom of the league. And we snapped him up. What have we come to was kind of the refrain. Well, what happened was Dozzell buckled down and worked on every aspect of his game, and the coaching staff at Fratton buckled down and worked on every aspect of his game. And he's turned into a player. Actually, not a lot of people know this, but Sheffield United, I think it was, were interested in signing him when QPR decided not to renew his contract. So we weren't alone in recognising that there was some potential there. But the beef is slightly with the critics of so many of the things that get done at Fratton Park. And I find it difficult, as a great many truly faithful Pompey fans do, to understand why it is that they feel that there has to be a need to condemn almost everything that the club does on every level. And they got Dozzell wrong. And it's blatantly obvious that they got Dozzell wrong, but are they taking to social media to say, I got that wrong, we got that wrong, there's only 6 of us, but we got that wrong. And we made a noise about it and we went public on it. Going public on a thing like that can hurt a player, it can hurt a club, it can hurt their performance, it can. So the question remains, why do those folk do it? It obviously rewards them in some way that only they know and understand and adhere to, because they have an almost obsessive devotion to naysaying and doom-mongering. Now, I don't bother with social media personally. That's me. I don't tweet, I don't X, whatever it is. I don't Instagram, I don't have a Facebook page. I did when it started out because we were told in the media that social media was going to be everything, and if you weren't on social media you wouldn't get any viewers or listeners, so I went along with it half-heartedly. I don't do it anymore. So all I get is when social media is quoted at me by other people, or somebody will hand me their phone and say, look at this. Or it gets written up in some of the newspapers when they're short of material. They'll say, this is what the fans are saying. No, it isn't what the fans are saying. It's what the fearful are saying. I don't believe the conspiracy theory that it's fans from up the road who are trying to destabilise the thing. I don't believe that. I don't believe they're clever enough, frankly. or that it has that much of an effect, frankly. I suppose it could make some 14-year-old kid in a red and white striped shirt feel somebody for stoking dissatisfaction and malcontent amongst Pompey fans, they think. But there's only really malcontent with them, with people who, when Dozzell arrived, wrote him off as being a reject from a club that is performing even worse than Pompey. What on earth are we doing? What on earth we were doing is bringing in a player who now, our esteemed manager, who, by the way, suffered the same kind of treatment from these naysayers and doom-mongerers when he arrived for being somebody with no experience, etc., etc., etc. Turns out that some people are saying he's the greatest Pompey manager in living memory, people whose views matter. So he knows what it feels like, and he's lived through it. Dozzell now knows what it feels like. Did it motivate him? That question is worth asking a sports psychologist. Did the fact that some people said we've bought a pup here, it's a phrase that comes from when at fairs people used to sell pigs, and what they would do is they would appear to put the pig in a sack, but actually put a newborn puppy, which is worth nothing, in a sack, and the person would get it home and found that they'd been sold a pup. But there were people saying out loud, we bought a pup. Does that make a player say, right, I'm going to show him? Hope so. If it played a part in Dozzell's turnaround, and it's quite a turnaround, then I nearly said let's keep doing it. No, don't. Let's not. Let's welcome every new face at Fratton Park. Let's welcome every new face at Fratton Park as though that person is going to be a saviour. OK, they might not be a world-renowned player. They might not even be a tip-top recently relegated Premier League player, the sort of thing that we might be able to afford, or somebody who's on the fringe of the squad of a very tip-top Championship side who we could barely afford it. It might not be that. It might be somebody who is as anonymous as was, to be fair, Colby Bishop when we bought him. Yeah. Regan Paul when he came in from Lincoln. Yeah. The boy Bramall if you read between the lines, he was almost written off. And we love him. And Josh Murphy. Again, we didn't know what we were getting. We didn't know what we were getting. The Pompey recruitment team, I think, had a pretty good idea. They're not going to go on the record and say that they get every one of these calls right, because you can't. But they don't half get an awful lot of them really, really, really right. And in the case of Andre Dozzell, they got it really, 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 really right. Is Sam Stone enjoying the moment, or have his thoughts moved on to the transfer window?
They're definitely enjoying the moment. It's been a long, arduous season, and we've been waiting for this moment. And if we'd said at the beginning of December we'd be safe with 2 games to spare, and the prospect of finishing as high as 12th, we would have all snapped your hands off, and some people would have said, "Are you mad suggesting that?" So for that to happen, we've got to enjoy it, and we've got to enjoy these final 2 games, hopefully up in a sunny Sheffield, glorious Hillsborough on Saturday. So yeah, celebrations for these next 2 games, because the players and the management and the fans as well, they deserve it.
Dean Adams always predicts that Pompey will do well, and Pompey Sound have got him down for 3-1 to Pompey at Sheffield Wednesday.
I'm going to say, funnily enough, I think I say 3-1 every week. I was going to say 3-1 Pompey, because Sheffield Wednesday season's finished. They're pretty poor at home. Although they won at home against Middlesbrough on Monday, they're pretty poor at home. They've got nothing to play for. I think if we go 1-0 up, we'll be winning. And I think with the Langs back, the Shaughnessy's back, there's a lot of smiles amongst the players at the moment, and I think we'll go there full of confidence. So Sheffield Wednesday 1, Pompey 3.